I'm Times New Media Coordinator Robert Blaszkiewicz, here with Times Editorial Page Editor Doug Ross. We're running down the upcoming primary races and looking at the Times endorsements in those races. The big one in Lake County we're going to talk about today, Lake County Sheriff, and it's a full field.
And it is the big one.
Yeah.
We've got, well, let's run through the candidates real quick. We've got Oscar Martinez, Frank DuPay, Rosalind Anderson. We'll count her out because you know she's not really actively campaigning.
Yeah.
Tom Philpott, who is, Lester Chandler Jr., who isn't, Bradley Hutchison, who isn't, Stephen Kressich, who isn't, John Bunsich, who most definitely is, has been for years actually, Richard Ligon, who is, Chris Roberts Gonzalez, and Don Parker.
Okay, so we're not going to really talk about the candidates who haven't been active.
Right.
We're going to concentrate on the ones who are actively campaigning. So
yeah. Now Chris Roberts Gonzalez, he's campaigning. He's DCS veteran, so he comes at it from a youth perspective.
Definitely wants to steer youth in the right direction and approach things that way, which is certainly commendable.
Yeah, and some of the others, you know, also have worked with youth. So, you know, Oscar Martinez and Frank DuPay. Now, we hosted with Purdue Cal the sheriff's debate on April 22nd. Yeah. And during that, you'll remember, DuPay was actually seemed to be deferring to Martinez on some things.
In some ways, well, they are the two candidates who are currently county cops. So
and fairly, you know, fairly young.
Fairly young. So they are both kind of represent that new face. They want to come up from within the department and change the department.
Yeah, you know, no, we didn't endorse either one of them. We thought maybe, you know, put them in a command position, give them some more seasoning.
Yeah, Martinez of the two if you're looking at a county cop, Martinez, I think, is probably the one who is more prepared for this position.
And campaigning hardest.
And he definitely is in the picture in terms of having a chance for the office.
Right.
It's hard to know how this is going to shake out with so many candidates.
Right.
You could have a candidate who gets just 20% of the vote and wins.
Yeah. Now the two that everybody is talking about, they think it's going to be one or the other, is either John Bunsich or Tom Philpott. Tom Philpott, I got to say, you know, he's had a lot of success running for office. He's, you know, been coroner, county clerk, coroner again. But here's my problem, is that 2 months after he becomes coroner, he files to run for sheriff. Yeah. So you know, that's just purely political as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and he hasn't bothered to show up at the debates.
Right.
He didn't visit with us, so he's...
and it's not like we tried. I sent him a certified mail.
Right. So,
you know,
so he's not really, you know, he's campaigning, but he's not really talking to voters.
Right.
So we have some serious doubts about Tom Philpott, obviously.
Yeah. And Bunsich has, he was sheriff for 8 years.
Yes.
Now here's the problem with that time is that with some of the problems in the department now, how many of them are legacy problems from that time? You know, it's really kind of hard to gauge, especially when they're talking about the overtime issues at the jail, because that was a contract that, if I remember right, you know, dates back to Bunsich's administration and so forth. And he had a lot of problems mixing politics with law enforcement. Yeah. Now, he says he's matured. So, you know, there's that too, you know. You have to realize people deserve a second chance sometimes.
Sure. But, you know, if you want change in the department, do you bring back someone who was already there? Exactly.
That's why we're endorsing Richard Ligon. And he might be somebody that you might not know. He's run before, but he was a postal inspector, which, you know, you hear postal inspector and you think, okay, he's holding up envelopes, you know, yeah, this one looks good. But that's not what it is. I mean, you know, basically a postal inspector goes out on the street with, you know, drug raids and things like that. Sure. I mean, you know, these are really gritty areas that they're in. So
sure, and he's a colonel. He's got military experience.
So I mean, and so he's got command experience. So you know, he's got the street crime experience. Well, not committing, but obviously, but
Right.
Enforcing.
Right.
And he's got the experience as a leader of, you know, a large group of soldiers.
Yeah,
so.
and I think what he'd like to do is to bring a lot of departments and levels of policing together to work together in an
Right.
efficient manner, not just have the county police be an you know, entity unto itself. Don Parker is also an interesting kind of outsider that's
Yeah,
running.
he was a police chief actually for two different towns, and you know, Parker's not a bad choice. Were Ligon not in, you know, we might have gone with
Yeah.
Parker.
Yeah, but Ligon is the choice on the Democratic side. Let's talk quickly about the Republican side. There's just two candidates, and
Right, and that's an entertaining race. There's Dan Bursack, who, you know, has the experience and so forth. You know, he's former police officer and everything. And actually has some decent ideas. Mike the Waiter White gets his nickname because he, you know, waits on tables.
and he's someone who has no illusions that he has a chance to actually win the office.
Right.
So it's allowed him to speak freely.
Yeah, you know, he has interesting ideas. For instance, well, it's called NORML, but the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws
Sure.
has a proposal to tax marijuana at $1 a joint. So
He wants to stop enforcement of marijuana laws, tax marijuana, and use the money to rebuild the Klein Avenue Bridge.
yeah, he told us he could build it twice over. Well, you know, there is that.
Yeah. So our endorsement.
So it's an interesting race.
It's an
We're
interesting
endorsing
race.
Bursack.
Okay, we're endorsing Bursack on the Republican side and Ligon on the Democratic side. So
Right.
it'll be a fascinating.
This is going to be the one to watch.
It'll
on
be
Tuesday
fascinating
night.
on Tuesday night to see how things shake out, and we'll certainly be reporting all of that. Please come back to NWI.com for all our election coverage. Pick up the Times on Sunday for our elections guide, and we'll be here providing all that news for you.